In this practice exercise, we will demonstrate how to use the high-low method to allocate variable and fixed costs as segments of total cost. Here in this situation, we have ABC bus tours that's incurred maintenance costs during a series of months from November to April. We have a chart here that shows us the miles driven by those buses as well as the relevant maintenance costs in total for those miles driven. We're going to approach this in three steps. Step one, we're going to use the high-low method to estimate the variable cost per tour mile traveled as well as the fixed cost in given months. In the second part, we're going to develop a formula that will express that cost behavior in any month, and will predict in the third segment, we'll predict the level of maintenance costs that would be incurred during a month when 34,000 tour miles were driven. So let's move on to part one. In part one, we want to estimate the high-low. Using the high-low method, we want to estimate the variable and fixed costs. If we look at the schedule that they provided us from November to April, and we try to select the high month and the low month, we can see that March, in fact, is the high month with 30,000 miles and $18,750 in costs. Similarly, if we look at for the low month, we'll find that to be April with 12,000 miles and $16,500 in costs. If we transfer that information over here to the right and we calculate the difference between the high and the lows for both miles and amounts, we will get 18,000 mile difference and $2,250 difference. If we divide the miles of difference of 18,000 into the $2,250 dollar amount, we'll get a resulting variable cost per mile of 12.5 cents. Now that variable cost per mile will be the variable cost per mile in any month, and we'll use that as a formula or to determine the variable cost in either the high or the low month. Either one will work for the determination of what fixed costs are. So we'll pick the high month, which is 30,000 miles times our 12.5 cents, which tells us that in the month of March we had $3,750 of variable costs. If we subtract the variable costs from the total cost for that month, we will get the resulting fixed costs of 15,000 miles, or $15,000. The 15,000 fixed cost plus the 3,750 get us back to the 18,750 for that month. If we did the same calculation using the low month for 12,000 miles, we would have more variable costs, or we would have lower variable costs because we have much lower miles, but the fixed amount would be the same. Just very quickly, we could subtract the 15,000 fixed costs from the 16,500 for that month, and that would determine $1,500 was the amount of the variable cost. On your own, you can calculate that difference by multiplying the 12.5 cents times the 12,000 miles, and that would get you $1,500. So in part two, we're going to translate what we just did into a formula. The cost behavior formula for determining the maintenance cost would be fixed cost per month plus the variable cost per month. The fixed cost we know to be 15,000 per month. If we take the variable cost at 12.5 cents per mile times the miles driven in any month, will determine what the variable cost is for that specific month. So the formula would be 15,000 plus 12.5 cents times the miles driven in that month would equal the total maintenance cost for that month. That's our formula. Moving on to part three, we'll then see what it would cost us if we run 34,000 miles. For 34,000 miles, we would add $15,000 times the 12.5 cents times the 34,000, and we will get $19,250 as our total cost in a month where we would drive 34,000 miles. I hope this has been helpful in showing you how to use the high-low method to allocate costs between variable and fixed.